Good morning and happy Tuesday. It is July 25th, 2023, and in just 2 minutes, we will have Ask a Traffic Cop live for your entertainment and education. Yes, we will answer your traffic and police questions for a full hour, well, at least a full hour. Sometimes we do an hour and a half. Depends on how many questions we have. We try and get to everybody. We do our best. Doesn't always work, but we do make an effort. What's going on today? Well, we have to update the graphics because there's an X logo instead of a Twitter bird. I don't know. It's a thing. And I just got off the phone with tech support. We're looking at why we're having some issues with speed. So hopefully we'll be able to get our output to 1080p or better again instead of running 720, which is suboptimal. We really do want to make this the best show for you. And if you are watching, please share, retweet, follow, like, all this stuff, regardless of what platform you're on. Any love you can show the stream would be much appreciated. It allows you to share, or at least help us share, the best information we can with the most number of people, because our goal is to educate and inspire. If we can get the good information in front of more people, then we're happy. It's not about getting the most likes or the most followers, although getting to 1 million on TikTok would be cool. In just under a minute, you got lots of time to do that following and sharing and retweeting and yeah, good stuff. Hey, if you're watching on Twitter, it's a one-way stream. You see us, we don't see you, so please go to trafficcop.ca. I've even gone and added the link at the very top so you can go right to YouTube. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, so you can get in and join the stream in a way that allows you to interact with us easily. TikTok works great. Our producer is not going on a mission today, so we will have your questions cut and paste into the stream. Easy peasy. Wait, I said that already. Yeah, it's going to be much easier if you're going to be on TikTok than it was yesterday, but that's a thing. And we're discussing whether or not we should be on Instagram. For the few people who are there, maybe it's better just to have you come over to the other platforms. But we keep checking to see if the widescreen RTMP feed is going to work on Instagram, and so far, it's still not being offered to us. Maybe that's the joy of being Canadian. I don't know. Other markets apparently have it. Anyway, it is time to start the show, so thanks for tuning in. And in a second, I'm going to fade away and then fade back, and it'll be me, but live. Hello. Good morning. Oh, that was nice. I just realized I forgot to upgrade our video quality to full high def or 4K HD. I don't know. I think we're still at 720, but we do have more bandwidth. So maybe that will resolve the sync issues we've been having tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I can't change this. I'd have to actually end the stream to start it over again. Forgot to press this button, so let's press that button. Good buttons to press. I kind of missed the theme song that we were playing before. But it's not really working with the intro. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We will figure this out. If you're new to the stream, my name is Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. It's something that I love to do, or I wouldn't do it. Seriously. This is all something that came out by accident. Well, I was in a collision. I was hit by a car when I was in the motor squad on a motorcycle approaching a red light. Someone came out of a parking lot, kaboomskis, and I wasn't doing police work. At least not in a normal way. And I didn't get to engage with you. And that's why I'm here. So I can help you out. Because that's what policing is. It's all about helping people. Others will argue. Some people call us tax collectors. They couldn't be further from the truth. If you're watching and want to know how to connect with us, we are currently streaming on YouTube. YouTube, let me start with the list based on the graphics in front of me. TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter. As I said in the intro, Twitter is a one-way valve. You see us, we don't see you. So if you go to trafficcop.ca, you can hit the links and come over to YouTube. If you are on Instagram, hello. How are you doing? We have an audience on Instagram. I'm a little curious as to why Instagram doesn't allow everyone to do the widescreen feed that we do to everybody else, but we don't have that option yet. We can't RTMP, and it might be a Canadian thing, and it bothers me. So if you haven't already started putting questions into the chat, please do. This is a show that is for you, really relies on you. I know, it's responsibility. Nobody wants that. But it is a show that relies on you to ask questions. Otherwise, we're going to talk about donuts, of which I had one yesterday. I started the day off so well. I was going to do no carbs. I was back on track. And I walked into, by the way, we're having some amazing roti for lunch. And I said, roti's not on my diet. Like, roti's not. I guess we're not starting low carbs today. And then that followed through with, hey, we had new officers at parking enforcement. We have central parking here. And the shift supervisor says, you got to come by. Kent said, you got to come by and have a donut. And I said, if they don't have a raspberry filled, I'm not interested. And of course, there was a raspberry filled. So I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I really enjoyed that raspberry filled. It was a good donut. It would have been even better had I warmed it up, but we weren't going there. I am told that we may have the good Sergeant Murray Campbell joining us in a not too distant future, so that's something to look forward to. We've already got some good mornings in here, so let's see who's in the chat room saying hello. AJ the Awesome, Stephen Bell. Of course, we've got Akela Draconis with greetings and salutations. We have, what is this? We've got a request to discuss the slow down, move over law. I'm going to flag that for just a sec. I do want to talk about it. I will actually, okay. I was going to say, I've got to start with some business. What's the business? Well, I need to talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. And yeah, I guess I could put that in the intro. That's not a bad idea. Chase has got lots of good ideas. We got Chase for PM. We're voting for you. But I will now consider doing that for tomorrow. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a team made up of dedicated officers who try and change driver behavior one ticket at a time. Yes, they are out there literally focused on those who choose to drive above the speed limit, aggressively, distracted, or impaired. Now, that's not to say they ignore other things. They don't. They're after all things, but they're focused on the ones that lead to serious injury and death. And that's exactly what speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving do. We know it. It's proven. Yeah. People say, no, speeding isn't a big deal. Speeding is a big deal. And you just want to be held accountable for your actions, which is why people say it's not a big deal. So let's look at where they are today, because every day stats and analysts determine where they're going to go. And today they are in 52 Division and 33 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Kensington, Chinatown, Bay Street Corridor, Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, and York Mills. Now, that is obviously not an exclusive or a complete list of neighborhoods, but those are examples of neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play. They deserve to be safe. Now, I would love to add more hashtags because I'm reading right from our Twitter feed at Traffic Services. And that's just the ones that I found that had lots of people viewing them or following them. If you have a neighborhood in those divisional boundaries that you think should be represented in my tweets, then please let me know because I'd love to include you. This is not about excluding. It's about making sure we're covering the stuff that needs to be covered. So, that's where they are today. They're going to be there, throughout the day. And if you don't want to meet them, I suggest following the law is a good way to start. All right. With that covered, we will also cover employment because everyone wants to know about the Toronto Police Service joining this magical place to work and the different kind of opportunities that you have. So if you're interested in that, stick around. We're also going to talk about the Harley raffle, which is really coming close to being here, like really close. What do we have here? It's 7 days, 22 hours, 50 minutes, and 5 seconds if you'd like to support Special Olympics Ontario and increase your odds of winning a Harley-Davidson, a 2022 Harley-Davidson Touring Street Glide. Then I suggest you stick around because we'll talk more about that later. But if you can't wait, harleyraffle.ca. You can also go to trafficcop.ca. I have links to everything there. And let's see what is happening in the chat room. Now, I'm going to look here. Lots of folks. My wife is in the chat. I see Marty's chatting up a storm. Happy Life is here. We've got lots of questions that are going to be coming over. I see Daddy Habibi and Master Technician. And all right, let's start with the important stuff, which is the question I already started reading. Oh, and YouTube is in sync. Good to know. Big Jeff Fresh is confirmed and also says good morning. All right, we're going to talk about speed measurement because someone wants. Actually, I'm just going to go quickly look at all the stuff that's already been asked in the chat, and I'm going to flag them so I can find them again once things continue to grow. Because that's what happens. People start asking questions, and the chat starts streaming, and then they update, and I can't see anything because, like what just happened, I was about to click on and flag something, and it disappeared. All right, Dr. Nick agrees that Division Zero. He says we're 10 minutes into the stream and we haven't had any questions yet. Okay, fine. Message received. Boom, boom, boom. All right, Kyle. Is it Boucher? I want to make sure I pronounce your name right. I make an effort to pronounce names correctly. But good morning, Kyle. or is it Boucher or Boucher? Or is there another? Give me phonetics here. I need phonetics. Okay. We got Michael, who has a comment here we'll talk about. Okay, what's your opinion? We'll talk about that. Anonymous. Yeah, that's what it says. Okay. We'll see what, that's an interesting question or statement. Tim Shallow says, good morning. Good morning to you. Who is it? Dex says, good morning. I love your show. So informative. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. That's exactly why we do it. Are we allowed to have interior lights? We'll talk about that in a second. PAL holders. We can touch on PAL holders. Do police still board transit to patrol? Okay. We'll talk about that. AJ the Awesome wants to know about my weekend. Okay, that's the question I was looking for when it all disappeared. And yes, upgrades. So we've identified an issue with data throughput, and I think we've corrected it, and we'll only know. Oh, Boucher was correct. I'm hoping that's what Kyle meant. Okay, and let's go into the mix. 14 questions in the queue, and we'll start with Tow Life Matter. And tow lives do matter. Tow lives matter. Yes. Here's the deal. If you're not already aware of this, there's something called the slow down and move over law. And I'm going to pull up and see if I can't find some wording to share with you. But essentially, if you see police, fire, and ambulance, emergency services workers, or tow trucks with their lights on the road, it's your responsibility to slow down and pull over. So what does that really mean? It means that if there's a lane available that you can go into, you go into it. And if you don't have an extra lane to go into, because that would put you into oncoming traffic or off the road, well, then you need to slow down and move as far over in the lane as not to injure those involved. So how slow do you have to go? As slow as you can. A snail's pace? Maybe not a snail's pace. But here is the charge. It's 159 sub 2 of the Highway Traffic Act. Fail to slow down and proceed with caution for emergency vehicle or tow truck. It is a $490 fine and 3 demerit points. And the short form wording that explains the offense says, upon approaching an emergency vehicle with its lamp producing intermittent flashes of red or red and blue light, or a tow truck with its lamp producing intermittent flashes of amber light that is stopped on a highway, which is any road, by the way, any road in Ontario, the driver of a vehicle traveling on the same side of the highway shall slow down and proceed with caution, having due regard for traffic and the condition of the highway and the weather to ensure that the driver does not collide with the emergency vehicle or tow truck or endanger any person outside of the emergency vehicle or tow truck. That's it. That's the story. It's real easy. All you have to do is pay attention. And those lights allow you that early warning to know what's coming up ahead so you can make appropriate moves. Yeah. Here's a question about speed measurement. And by the way, Tow Lives Matter, I hope that covers it. If there's more you want to talk about, please let me know. Like, we could talk about how scary it is to be at the side of the road when people don't slow down and how much we want to charge people when they don't do it. But anyway, moving on. AG Brown 1123 has a question, is that, can a cop point, I'm going to add the T for you, the laser at the side doors and claim it's a good reading? Well, if you point the laser at a side of the door, it's not going to give you a reading. It's moving. So here's how lasers work. Do I have a laser? I have some stuff here. I have a radar gun here. It's stuff that's coming down. We have stuff, future things to share with you. I'm really excited about where the studio is going to go, but it's decorated. And there's reasons why I'm not decorating it yet, because we have some sound treatment that's coming in. But anyway, let's keep on the question. If something is moving this way in front of me and I'm touching the door, the reading that's going to come out is going to be 0 because you're maintaining a distance from me. See, basically the laser measures distance and then does some calculations. It takes multiple readings over a series of time and then does math. And when it gets that math in, it can determine speed. Like if I measure you and you're 100 meters away, and then a millisecond later you're 75 meters away. Well, it got 2 different distances, and based on the time, it can determine how fast you were going to cross that barrier. If it's moving sideways or on an angle, it's going to significantly reduce that speed, if not make it 0. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, please let me know. But could we claim it was a good reading? It would be a good reading, a 0. I don't think I don't think it would be a good reading. Is there a fine? Is it illegal to have pink LED lights on your tires? It's probably a bad idea. It's not specifically illegal to have pink LEDs on your valve stem, and that would create a solid line while you're driving with the appearance of a solid line. Kind of cool. I don't think that would project enough light to be, an issue. Could someone interpret it as such? Yeah, you might find yourself trying to define that in court. Are you better off not having that kind of stuff on your vehicle? I would say so. In addition to that, I would suggest that you make sure that whatever you put on your valve stems isn't aluminum, because valve stems are brass. And what happens is there's this chemical reaction kind of thing in the two metals. Well, they bond to each other. It's a bad thing. You're never going to get them off. You'll have to cut them and get the valve stems replaced. So be careful what you're putting on there. I generally think it's a bad idea. If there's some other way, if you're projecting so much light that you are actually projecting light, that could be a problem, because it causes confusion, and it could be an issue. And I'm going to stop. This horse is gone. It's left the world. We're going to move on. Cole Bronson has a question. What is the punishment in Ontario for emissions deleted diesel pickup trucks? I don't know what the punishment is for, but if you take out your emissions deleted, I think it's Environmental Protection Act. I think it's quite serious. I believe it's no set fine, aside from having removed your improper exhaust system stuff. But I'd have to look it up. We've talked about it briefly before, but I don't remember what it is. I'm sure we had the answer. Maybe when Sergeant Campbell comes back, we can revisit this. So I'm going to unflag the ones we've talked about. I'm going to leave yours flagged, and we'll revisit it in a little while. Sound good? I hope so. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Drinking and driving, and drinking and boating. I know you're not allowed to drink and paddle a boat, but is it an actual DUI or just a fine? It's an actual DUI. It's been upheld in the courts that your canoe is a vessel, your paddle boat is a vessel, according to the Shipping Act, I believe, or something along those lines. I'm not a boater, but I do know that it's upheld in court. There was recently a death of a young person as a result of the impairment of the boat operator, or the steersman. Is that what we called it, based on Kayla's education? In any case, it's not just a fine. It is a real deal charge. Okay. Michael says, I saw aggressive recently, following too close, horn, sudden lane departure, just stop at a red light seconds earlier. I wish I was TPS to lay charges. Long before I was a police officer, I would have volunteered my time to charge people who drove that way, who were aggressive towards other drivers, who were making the roads unsafe and generally just, bothering me. I totally understand. And maybe you should have joined the Toronto Police, because we are hiring, which gives me a quick opportunity to bring the Toronto Police careers page up on screen to share with you. Yes, this was a setup. No, it wasn't. This happened organically. Michael just gave me the perfect in to discuss about opportunities for employment. And of course, you go see the smiling faces of our members. See, they look so happy. They're getting paid. It's more than a paycheck, folks. It is much more than that. Information on all the positions are here as I mouse around here. Now, police constable, it's obvious. We're police officers. If you want to learn about the requirements to become one, click there. You find out what the requirements are and what we make, as well as ways to apply directly and get in contact with a recruiter. Special constable is interesting. It's a civilian role that has expanded powers when working. I used to be one. It was called, back then it was just court officer. Now we have special constables who work in courts, in booking, as well as divisional roles where they do other things in the community. And there are great opportunities, even if you don't want to be a police officer, or maybe you are colorblind. You don't have proper color acuity, which means you're not qualified to become a police officer. You could, in my understanding, still become a special constable. At least that was something that you could do back in the day. Hey. Sergeant Campbell is joining the room. Let me shuckle over here. Hang on a second. I'm making room. Special constables, I believe you don't have to have color acuity to become one. So we're just discussing some employment. And no one can see because the camera is currently covered up by the banner at the bottom of the screen. But they will shortly. And your headphones are there, and microphones going up. You got audio now. Okay.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Sarge. We've got, what else can I talk? Communications operators. This is all stuff that you can find out by going to this website. So also auxiliary officers, although I don't think there's an opportunity right now to apply. Keep a lookout if you're looking for the best way to volunteer for your community. Oh, and we also have a visitor that just popped in. Hang out there for a little bit. We'll surprise everyone. I sent a link to see if our friend from Alberta could pop in and say hello for a few minutes, and apparently he has answered the call.
That's our friend from the sheriff's office.
He's not a sheriff. He is. We're going to let him explain it in just a second. But here we've got currently 9 positions currently available that are civilian: job evaluation consultant working in labor relations, SQL server database administrator, corporate buyer, museum attendant, senior analyst, senior programmer, senior technical analyst, solutions architect. These are jobs that you can, if you're qualified for, you should apply for, because you could work for an amazing organization supporting your community. Because we have a whole city of, we are like a city. We have 7,000 plus members, and a lot of jobs that need to be done in order for police officers to go out, hit the roads, and help the community. So you can be in a support role, and it's still an important role.
We are a city inside a city.
Yes, it's like a cruise ship. In fact, a cruise ship has fewer staff than we do, because an average big ship has about 3,500 guests and maybe about 1,500 to 2,000 crew persons. We have more crew persons than
Crew persons.
Crew. I think crew persons. Crew. Just call it crew. Crew. Adding words that don't need to be worded. All right. 81 messages. Holy moly. Okay, we're going to come back to lots of stuff with our magical folks here. Let me get through a couple more questions before we bring our mystery guest. Is it a mystery? Officer Logan Grant from Brooks, Alberta, in the green room, waiting. Okay. Here's a question that I said I would bring back when you came in the room, and I don't have an answer for it, at least not an accurate one. Cole Bronson wants to know what the punishment in Ontario is for emissions-deleted diesel pickup trucks. So what I had said, and I believe is correct, is not only do you have charges related to having an improper exhaust, but you would have Environmental Protection Act violations. But I don't know what the actual fines or consequences are, other than the vehicle can't be on the road.
Right, and we would be seizing license plates and making your vehicle unfit. You'd have to go through the whole safety process again. And if you have your DEF, the catalytic converter.
Do diesels have catalytic converters?
They do, and they use a special fluid, DEF fluid, which is sort of a fluid of urea. Urea.
That sounds dirty.
Which sometimes freezes and sometimes, yeah. So the emissions systems on diesel trucks are faulty. They break down a lot, and they're very expensive to replace. I understand the want to get rid of it, but they're there for a reason, and it's mandated that they be there, and that people keep them on the trucks when they're using them, if the vehicle is manufactured with them. So it helps clean the environment. Yes, it's more costly. Yes, it slows your truck down a little bit too, because by eliminating it, you get a little bit more horsepower. But no, can't do it. And you spend an awful lot of money on a delete. We're taking your plates. You got to put it all back together again before you get it back on the road, which could be very, very costly, even more costly.
Someone's talking about the hand-drawn sign behind me. Yeah, it's now behind you, but it's over your shoulder over there. And that is, in fact, my children's artwork. It's the hand-drawn. It's the Toronto Police.
Easy for you to say.
Yes, it's not at all, actually. They went and added the Toronto Police logo, a TikTok logo. Yes, that is their rendition, and it was a team effort. But they were very happy to present it, and I'm very happy to put it on my wall. Well, it will be on the wall eventually. Let's see here.
Lots to put on the wall.
There's so much, but there's things happening. On Thursday, we have some folks coming in to check out the soundproofing requirements for the room. So we're looking forward to things, which is why I've not been in a rush to decorate, because it would be redecorating again after things get put on the walls. Let's see here. Is there any website to find out if a neighborhood is more violent than another? Curiosity Guy. Oddly enough, that's a really good name for someone who asks questions. The Curiosity Guy. The Toronto Police does have a website, and the City of Toronto, I believe, also has that where they show crime and calls, and you can get that kind of stats. I don't know if they will identify if it's a safe neighborhood or not, just where there have been recent calls.
So there's a live GIS map that the Toronto Police puts out there, and you can see actually where the Toronto Police calls are and where the Toronto Police cars are and what calls they're on. So have a look at your neighborhood and just see what's going on around you.
Or don't, because you may not want to know.
Well, yeah.
Okay. We got flagging a bunch of stuff, but rather than torturing our friend, let's bring him into the mix and say hello for a few. Oh, everything's shifted.
Yeah,
we can't see. I mean, let me.
That's okay.
just means you have to get a little more intimate
we
there,
go.
Sean.
Can I zoom out at all? No, it's a zoomy. We're gonna snuggle.
I take up too much room on my side.
It's all good. How's things?
Things are busy. Things are good though.
Well,
yeah,
you're a new dad.
yeah.
That's
Again. So that's a handful.
It's never with new refreshed out of the box again with new responsibilities of new
Yes.
diapers and things like that. So congratulations
Yes.
officially.
Thank you.
Haven't seen you in a while. So for those who don't know who you are, how does one describe oneself in terms of what you do? Because you are not a police officer, but you wear a uniform, you give out tickets, you enforce laws, and you are in fact in Brooks, Alberta.
Yes, I am a peace officer here in the province of Alberta. I work for the city of Brooks, and my primary focus is traffic enforcement, traffic safety. So pretty much all I do is traffic enforcement.
Which is not a bad thing because we're traffic people here
No.
and we like trafficy stuff.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
And have you had any good ones since coming back? Any really special issues that you've addressed by way of issuance of a ticket?
We have a pretty big provincial lake close to where we are, so we get a lot of speeders on the weekend coming out from Calgary, going out to the lake. So get some pretty good high flyers, 150 in the 80, 119 in the 80, some big ones.
We had a 200.
And then our typical learner drivers driving without supervision, that kind of stuff.
Now, you said that there's a specific issue once before. You said that you had a big problem with that, and that is people with learner's permits who require a qualified supervisor just driving without them.
100%.
And it's a problem we have here too. It was really prevalent when we had delays in people getting their license, but it is not. I don't think it has changed. It's still people breaking the rules, hoping not to get caught.
Yeah.
What are the consequences if someone gets caught by you?
It's a $324 ticket with 2 points upon conviction. And then if the vehicle is not owned by the individual driving, then the registered owner is liable for a $324 ticket as well for allowing someone to drive their vehicle without proper supervision. And then if the supervisor is not of a supervising class of license, they are also liable for a $324 fine as well.
I love it. That is way
I
more
do
expensive than we are here because, as much as people complain that we're all about enforcing laws, we actually have a great deal. It's a discount. It's only $110 for the driver. And not that I think it should be raised. I think it should be $1,000.
Yeah.
I agree.
But to be honest, like you guys have some much better, tougher laws for like distracted driving and stuff. I wish we had some of those. And then I wish, even for the speed, that we could start seizing vehicles when they're 51 plus the speed limit.
And you don't do that.
No.
I'd like
mandatory court appearance.
I would like lasers from heaven to come down and disable vehicles at that speed.
Right.
Yes, I'd like to see all sorts of things that aren't happening anytime soon. But that's a thing. We got what do we got here? We got a couple questions. Let's see if we can both answer them from our respective perspectives. So they want to know what my opinion as an officer about these e-scooters all over. I wonder if they mean e-kick scooter or scooter. Like or e-bike, because there's both. What well, first off, what is it like in Alberta? Are they legal e-kick scooters and electric bikes?
They are, so long as they're under 30 kilometers, I think 31, 32 kilometers an hour.
Regardless if it's e-kick scooter or stand-up e-kick scooter or e-bike, are they covered under the same rules?
Very much so, yeah. And then you do require a helmet on the bicycle style. Electric scooters, you do require a helmet for that. Whereas if you're just on a normal scooter, you do not. but when you're on the motorized bike, you definitely do.
As I punch the microphone.
But we don't see a lot of them. We see more of the scooters, and they're just on the public path and stuff like that. We don't traditionally see a lot on the road out here. We're in a bit of a rural part of Alberta anyway. I would expect if you go to Calgary or Edmonton, you'll see a little bit more of that. But here,
Well, phone a friend so we can know next
you're
time.
more likely to see a horse going down the
No
street here
kidding.
than someone on an electric bike.
Yes, I'm kind of disappointed that you're not wearing your Stetson. Just saying.
I know. I can't wear my headphones with it. I don't know.
It's good. So, and to cover off for the Ontario perspective, the e-bikes are a big problem if misused. There's a lot of rules governing them, and if you're not using them properly, not only are you putting yourselves, but you're also putting others at risk. I was told, I was talking to a sergeant who on his way to work one morning saw an e-bike doing 90 on the Don Valley Parkway. So e-bikes that are not limited, that are built with the capability of going beyond 32 kilometers an hour are absolutely motor vehicles. They're motorcycles. They require license, ownership, and insurance, and of course a helmet. I'm going to be putting out a video, which I've yet to record, because yesterday I put an e-kick scooter video, and that was of a guy in a crosswalk with an e-kick scooter that they mounted a seat to. And by mounting a seat, that makes it a motor vehicle, a motorcycle. And people say, well, hold on a second. Why is that not just an e-bike? And the answer is pedals. You have to have functioning pedals. Do you know that the person who just walked behind you actually had me wondering if someone was walking behind me, was freaking out. Where did that person come from? Okay. So do I think they're a problem? They're a huge problem. And people ask a regular question. If they hit me, who's responsible and who pays? Well, if they hit a motor vehicle, chances are the motor vehicle that is insured is going to be eating that. You're going to be paying for it out of your insurance, which nobody wants to hear. Why would your insurance rates go up because somebody else driving a motor vehicle that has special privileges if it conforms to the Highway Traffic Act's requirements of being, deemed to be a bicycle or not a motor vehicle, but it has to follow the rules. If that's the case, well, how is that fair? Well, it's not. A lot of people have a really good argument that it may not be fair.
It isn't. It is not fair. Absolutely not.
And but there is something that many don't know, and that is people have or should have home insurance. I think that if you don't have home insurance, and even to cover your own stuff, that's a risk.
Yeah.
But if you have home insurance, it might be your home insurance that's paying it. Their home insurance, the person riding the bicycle. And I had never made the connection. It was actually a conversation with the biking lawyer through the internet that brought that up, and it was an article. It was published in an article. So there are ways to go after somebody, but it's going to be a civil case. It's going to be someone trying to recover those losses. So interesting stuff. Here's one that I don't know if. I assume this is someone trying to get us, but we'll go there anyway. Anonymous says, or is it Anonymous? Sir, 2 months ago I have ran from the police. We have to work on your grammar there. Sir, 2 months ago I have ran from the police when I was speeding, and I'm afraid I will do it again. I had an adrenaline rush. Who can I talk to seek help? And will I get trouble for the first time? If you ran from the police, we know who you are. You are actually possibly in trouble. And talking to the police or turning yourself in could be a good way to go. You might want to seek some legal advice because you have committed an offense which has serious consequences. And if you were thinking you would do it again, smack yourself. That's a bad idea. Yeah, that is just.
And hopefully the officers don't get the license plate because you're still going to get everything in the mail anyway.
Oh yeah, there is no. I got away with it, and it's done. Like for certain offenses, we have 6 months to lay the charges, and other offenses we have 3 years to lay. For criminal stuff, there's no limit. I would.
We get that a lot out here with crotch rockets.
There is a problem with that.
If we can get close enough and get the plate, normally we can, and then they just take off.
Yeah,
but we just send everything to the registered owner.
So do you have owner liability for all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, pretty much anything under our Traffic Safety Act.
Really,
you can send to a registered owner. Yeah,
that's
for the most part.
I'd like to see that here.
Yeah,
I think we should be
outside of summonses. You can send everything pretty much by means of RO.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Certain offenses that we can do that too. So
we should make it all.
I think
we should.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start sending letters now.
Yeah.
Okay. Chase wants to know if we still board TTC or transits at patrol for distracted driving, and absolutely we can do all that sort of stuff. Do we do it? We did it a number of times in part of some crackdowns for distracted driving, but it's certainly something we can do. But do we do it on a regular basis? I don't think we do. I don't think it's part of a regular routine.
Certainly can be done, and some other jurisdictions around have had some really ingenious ways of doing it. Driving around in dump trucks, so they're up higher to see cell phone users, things like that.
Yeah.
So, very well done.
We've done it out here at our community transit buses, but it's a big initiative, right? Like you got to place officers in and around the area where you're on the bus. Like you're not pulling everybody over in a city bus. So it's normally a bigger thing, right?
Well, you don't pull them over in the city bus. You have a spotter in the city
Yeah,
bus. And
exactly.
Then you have the vehicle, by radio over to your friend to say, "Hey, pull over that guy or girl or person."
When I lived in Ottawa, they used to just stand out on the curb. They dressed like homeless
I
people.
love
with
that. Have you ever
signs.
done that? I would love to do that.
And then I look homeless normally. I mean, I think someone put in the comment because I have a scruffy beard. So, yeah, I could easily pull that off.
I just think that would be the sign that I saw in the media was once, if you're reading this, you're about to get a ticket from a police officer. I think it's genius, and people get really upset. How dare you hide? That's entrapment. No, nobody put the phone in your
don't
hand.
even get me started with the entrapment thing. Oh my God.
But there's a lot of online lawyers who believe they understand things they have no understanding of. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. I love these conversations. Are you allowed to have the interior lights on in your car? Well, how can you do it in Alberta?
There's really nothing that says you can, but so especially at night, if you have a bright white light in the car and it can be deemed to be distracting or you're blocking your vision of the windshield, then potentially. But at face value, there's nothing specifically that says you can't drive with your lights on. But again, little things like that can lead into other problems, right? If the vision of your windshield or your windows are obscured because the light is so bright
It's
inside.
interesting. I've never thought about the obscuring your. I mean, obviously, it can impact your night driving ability because your eyes could dilate or restrict, and then not have enough light in, and not being able to see is kind of a bad thing when driving a motor vehicle. But there's no law against it. So if you could articulate it, I said never actually thought about that. That's good. We like that. We like that idea. I like that a lot. I like all these ideas. And there's somebody. Hey, he disappeared.
He's in my screen. Don't worry.
Well, it blends now. It's just a slight.
Yeah.
How? All right, I have too much fun by myself. Okay, here we go. AJ the Awesome wants to know how my weekend was and how was your day, and hope all is well. Well, obviously that question is extended to everyone here. Did everyone have a good weekend?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, no,
That was all right.
I went to a mall. I'm not a big mall person, and I went to the mall. And I've talked about this before. It is a mall that is not in Toronto, but is called the Toronto Premium Outlets. And I don't understand that concept of driving like 45 minutes outside of Toronto to go to a place called Toronto. But it's a good mall, I got to say. It feels like I'm going to Florida whenever I'm there. It's designed like an American mall. It must be owned by an American company. And even the security guards have Stetsons, like the flat, like the Marine style with the tassels. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's a thing. So I went there and we bought stuff. Okay, but thank you for asking, AJ. It was a good time. I am happy to be back and not shopping because it's very expensive to go shopping. Everything is expensive. Here's a great question. Can I ride an electric scooter at 100 kilometers an hour without a license? Okay, I think we covered this earlier, but we're going to just touch on it again.
First of all, I think if your scooter can do 100 kilometers an hour, I'm thinking just a scooter, good for you.
E-kick scooter or push
I mean,
scooter?
those things are not.
No, they
don't go that
the
fast.
push scooters that have dual 1,000 watt motors will do 100 kilometers an hour, no problem. In fact, there's a
You're
great.
taking your life in your own hands.
Beyond that, I mean, if you go to YouTube or it's even on TikTok, there is a video of the Australian motor coppers chasing a guy doing 100K on the highway on one of those. It is amazing. They're get up and go. They go from zero to something real quick, and or from nothing to something. Yeah, they're fast, and they're incredibly dangerous. And if that's you who wants to do that, give yourself a shake. It's a bad idea. It's also incredibly illegal.
You can do it on your own property.
Private property, you do whatever the heck. Well, actually, you can't do everything you want, but you can certainly get away with operating one of those. But on the highway, put it on the road, put it on a sidewalk, put it on a path system. You're breaking the law. It is a motor vehicle, regardless of whether or not you choose to do 100. If it's capable of doing 100, if it's capable of doing 25 kilometers an hour, it's a motor vehicle, and it's prohibited. You would be charged for everything under the sun, from unsafe motor vehicle to driving a motor vehicle without insurance on the road. And even because you can't register it for the road, but it's not allowed there. So there's a ton of charges that are eligible for, or that you're eligible for. So if you want to have a really bad day, that's the way to start it. Yeah, I mean, who wants to buy a house when you could pay fines instead? Oh, Ryan Pinn hasn't been here in a while. He's a driving instructor in Nova Scotia. This is really an interprovincial episode where we have representation from the ends, the whole of Canada, right here. So he's a driving instructor with Young Drivers of Canada, and somebody canceled on him. Okay, well we're glad to have you. Thanks for saying hey. Let's see here, Alberta boy.
Yep.
Well, that's not you. I'm just the person's username.
Oh, I was like, yes.
So I had that one waiting for you.
Sorry.
Can police be on their cell phone while driving? So, being that it's Alberta boy asking, what's the rule in Alberta?
Contentious issue, eh? Yeah. Unfortunately, as long as they're in the course of their duties, they can be, which we get complaints out here all the time. But you know what? I'm a big proponent. Like, I have Bluetooth in my truck, so why am I holding it to my ear?
For sure.
Why put myself in a position where I'm opening myself to public scrutiny, even if I'm legally allowed to do it? Why am I doing it? I have Bluetooth. Just use the Bluetooth.
Well, and I have two phones.
So-
I have my personal phone, I have my work phone, and I have a separate Bluetooth headset for my work phone.
Yeah.
So if I'm planning on using it, that's in my ear. And then it makes it really weird when I don't know which phone to hang up on. Because I have two mounts and I hang up on, which it's very confusing. And that in itself is distracting. But no, we're permitted to, but it is not something that we want anyone to do. But the law is there so that we can do it if we have to, not so we can order pizza. And very often we are two-person cars, not in the traffic world, but in the rest of policing. And those two-person cars, you have a co-pilot. Why would you ever touch as a driver the computery stuff? That said, computers, two-way radios, all that stuff is covered under the Highway Traffic Act under the distracted driving laws. And we have to have that ability. People say, well, why would you use your cell phone if you have a two-way radio? Well, we need the exclusion to use the two-way radio because that's a handheld communication device. And that's vital information. Some officers we all have issued telephones, but those phones might be the only piece of information or communications tool. They may not have a two-way radio. This may be it. So the exclusion has to be there, and very often they have to use it. Yeah, it's an emergency services thing. If it's emergent, you got to do it. But we acknowledge that it is a higher risk, that it is a distraction, that we don't want it to be the go-to. Not always an option. Okay. What is this? Oh, this is another good Alberta versus Ontario question. I see so many people driving with over-the-ear headphones. Is that safe? Getting annoyed by that we have to like stick together in the middle so we don't we're not cutting half our heads off. With
you guys are like ebony and ivory there. Here, I mean, there's no law that says you can't have headphones on, whether they're earbuds or headphones like what we're wearing. However, you know what? It muffles the sound around you. You know, people hearing horns, you know, you got emergency vehicle sirens, that kind of stuff. So I don't recommend it. There's no law here that says you can't.
Which is interesting because many provinces have a one-ear only rule. I thought we were unique that there was a two-ear permitted situation in Ontario, but there's like you said, there's nothing preventing it. And in Ontario, there's no hearing test for driving. I don't imagine there's one in Alberta because hearing isn't a requirement. But you talk about safety, and you are still responsible to pull over for emergency vehicles. Yeah. And I personally like that whole early warning system of screeching tires or high revving engines, or I want to get out of the way if I hear something. But there's transparency modes. I wouldn't want to use noise canceling headphones where it sounds like I'm just like in a silent room where you hear nothing. That sounds really bad. But this is not going to block out ambient sound that much. Yeah. And what is the difference between pumping music? You're fighting that yawn.
I know. I know.
As soon as I come on, everybody's falling asleep. Come on.
I don't know what it is. The beard.
Probably.
The deal is that if you're pumping loud music out of your car stereo, or you're pumping loud music into your ears directly, how much difference is it going to make? It's still going to muffle the ambient noise outside of your vehicle. And so many of these vehicles, and someone said it's illegal to make a soundproof car. I would argue that, because if you've been in a Cadillac or a Mercedes recently, they are nearly soundproof. They're amazing. And people, when we pull them over for speeding and going ridiculous speeds, they say, well, didn't even know. I didn't even feel it. And I can tell you that you don't feel the speed in the high-end cars. You just don't. That's not an excuse. You got to be more aware of what you're doing, but it is absolutely a sound situation. At least part of it. They're also like really nicely made vehicles. If you were doing that in your Toyota Tercel from 1981, you'd be lucky the wheels don't fall off. But did they make a Toyota Tercel in 1981?
You know what? I actually had a Toyota Tercel from 1981.
Come on.
I'm serious.
So he was just
So
slightly.
how was it?
offended
When you, how did it feel at 180?
Yeah.
Could it go 180? Okay.
I will say though on that one though, like you could be charged in Alberta for distracted driving. So just drive while distracted. If it could be determined that your music in your ear was so loud that you either missed or did not, adequately move to something behind you, you could be charged for driving.
You have
while
a couple
distracted.
of blanket charges that I'm jealous about.
Yeah.
We don't have those. Chase, this is just a comment that I figured I'd share because I would never say something like that. But he says he swears that it feels like most people get their licenses in cereal boxes. There are some
mainly tricks.
There are some. Which did you say tricks?
Yeah, the cereal tricks.
I haven't seen. Do they still make that cereal?
I have no idea. I just figured it was suiting that you'd find a driver's license in a tricks box. You're getting tricked anyway.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
tricks are for kids.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
A follow-up from Chase, who says, my street is under construction and I often see the workers driving the machinery while using their cell phones. Is this legal or illegal? You actually put illegal in the question. Well, interesting question, because road building machines and construction vehicles may not be considered or are not considered motor vehicles for the purposes of that rule. At least they're not plated vehicles.
So they're not plated vehicles. They have an exemption to be operating on the roadway, but they are motor vehicles.
So they would, under the HTA, they would qualify?
They would. I believe they would. There's an exemption for license and insurance. There's an exemption for, safety equipment or lighting, stuff like that. But if they're actually in the act of
Driving.
farming.
But if they have a closed road,
Construction.
because the street is under construction.
So if it's under construction and it's closed, then no.
Interesting. There are so many ifs and maybes and whens, and
Yeah.
it's really going to depend. Is it safe? Well, no, it's not safe. That in fact, I would say it's even less safe than driving a vehicle regularly. You got someone operating a backhoe. That so many construction site injuries and poor decisions. A friend of ours who might be here recently lost a family member. Because of a situation at a construction site. Could it have been attributed to someone being distracted, not doing the right thing? Who knows? But we see tragedy all the time. So we don't want anyone being distracted from anything. In fact, you should never even walk and chew gum. It's just too dangerous. The risks are too high. Okay. We covered this. We covered that. Boom, boom, boom. So Nick wants to know about PAL holders' responsibilities during a traffic stop. So a PAL holder, just because you have a PAL doesn't mean you have a responsibility when you're stopped. If you are transporting firearms, however, do you have to tell? Well, different states and different provinces may have different rules. But in Ontario, I don't know if we have to disclose. We're going to pull up your information and likely find out that you're a PAL holder, and maybe we would ask that question, but it's unlikely.
So for the sake of the people that don't understand what a PAL is your actual possession and acquisition license
For firearms.
Firearms, yeah.
Yes. So, I think state of Florida, if you're carrying a firearm or if you're transporting one, you have to say, I have one. Are you obligated to say that in Ontario? I don't think there's any obligation of that. I don't remember ever having any training that says people have to tell me. Would I tell someone as a courtesy if I was pulled over to let them know?
Yeah.
I would want them to know from me before anything else happened, and they found it or saw it, or I'd be very open about it, and I would certainly appreciate if anyone who was a legal firearm owner told me they had any firearms. I'd be appreciative if an illegal firearm owner told me, so I wouldn't have to find it on my own. It would just make my job easier. But being open and forthright when it comes to these things is just a benefit.
And two, that people have to keep in mind is if they're transporting a firearm in their vehicle, and I'm not talking non-restricted, so I'm not talking handguns or anything, just long guns, they have to be unloaded. But outside of that, I mean, here in Alberta, it's not, it happens all the time. I pull someone over and there's a barrel pointing at me in the face because the gun is sitting in the passenger seat leaning toward the driver window.
Really?
You know, it's, 22s, 308s, all that kind of stuff, shotguns. As long as they're unloaded, you're fine. I personally think they should be locked in a case regardless, like restricted firearms. But unfortunately for long guns, as long as they're unloaded, they can even just sit on your back seat.
So
as long as they're
so
unloaded.
restricted firearms, we're talking about handguns or certain rifles.
Yeah.
They do have to be locked,
Yes.
trigger locked, disabled in the back. If it's a long gun, hunting rifles, things
non-restricted,
like that, non-restricted weapons, they are firearms. They have a different set of rules, and they can be seen, but it is unwise. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Unless you're storing them, and then they have to be
rules.
covered. Yeah.
If you're a good example of unwise, even if it's not a real gun. I say that airsoft, people get into paintball situations. Some of them look really realistic. I can tell you that you will likely be staring at a real gun being held by a police officer if you're not, if you're showing these items off and causing panic, whether you intend to cause panic or not. Yeah, bad things can happen. Firearms are a whole conversation unto themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Is it possible to get my stunt driving dropped in court with my paralegal because it's my first time?
Ask your paralegal.
It's possible.
Anything's possible.
Depends.
It depends. Yes, I like that. Depends. We haven't said enough depends today. Yeah. The deal is that whatever you did is something you're responsible for it, right? So would you get it dropped because it's your first time? Unlikely.
But it's up to the court.
But it is, everything's up to the courts. Yeah. But generally my defense is, but it's my first time, is not a viable defense. Yeah. But you never know. Get some independent legal advice. Yes. Radek wants to know who has the right of way when encountering wildlife on the road.
I would say the wildlife.
Well,
depending on size,
they don't read the manuals, so it's very hard to convey the law.
Yield to mass.
Well, yeah, moose take priority.
You know what? That's the best way to put it. Yield to mass.
Yeah.
We have prairie gophers out here that are the size of like chipmunks. I can tell you right now, we don't swerve to avoid hitting them. If they don't get out of the way, they're going to be seagull bait. But like Sarge said, I mean, yeah, if it's a deer or out here elk, yeah, I'm going to yield to the elk. Although, if it's at high speed, it's difficult because a lot of times you see people get into collisions and they say, well, I swerved to miss even if it's a porcupine, they total their car, and then the insurance company goes, well, where's the porcupine? Where's the, some people even recommend, if you're going to hit it, just clip it, just to get that fur on there for pictures, for evidence, right?
Well, the big thing is creating greater risk. Like if you had to choose between a prairie gopher or whatever squirrely chipmunk thing that you described, and a human, the gopher gets it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
let's see.
glad you chose that one, and not the other way around.
It was up in the air for a second.
You had to think about it.
A lot of people like animals more than they like the average person.
Yes.
So let's have a look here. We got a bunch of questions in queue. Do I legally have to stop at stop signs in parking lots? Isn't that private property? So in private property, the stop sign can't be late. The charge for that. We could charge for, stunt driving or dangerous driving, but not stop sign in particular. But what if your stop sign wasn't just rolling through? And what if it was doing a high-speed drift through the stop sign? Well, then you got stunt driving or dangerous driving. So it really depends. What about you guys? Does private property stop sign offenses exist?
So this is what I like about Alberta. So a parking lot is still considered a highway under the Traffic Safety Act. So if the parking lot does close at a certain time every night, so if there's a gate or any kind of barrier that closes it off, it is considered a highway. 365 days a year. Now, having said that, are we gonna charge everybody for rolling every stop sign at the Walmart? No, we're probably not even gonna go there to enforce it unless we get complaints. However, every parking lot, Canadian Tire parking lot, it's a highway. So distracted driving, you name it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Brian wants to know, can electric vehicles drive in the new HOV lane on 401, Mississauga Milton area? Don't see green plate sign anywhere. Is there any sign? The deal is that the HOV lanes on 401 series highways do accommodate green plate use. It's standard across the.
As long as it's signed that way, I believe.
I don't think it's required for the sign because, for instance, motorcycles, if it's truly an HOV lane, they're not diamond multi-use lanes. They are HOV, but there should be signs somewhere, like somewhere where you enter the road, somewhere where it starts. May not maybe where you're entering it isn't, and it should direct all the use. But it's my understanding that HOV on 400 series highways in particular are allowed to have motorcycles with one rider, no passenger required, are allowed to have all of the rules or that are covered by all the rules, including green plates, regardless of sign. But we'll have to look into that to see if there's anything else, which is different than the Toronto diamond multi-use lanes, because those are absolutely directed by sign, because you could be on it for one block and it says motorcycles are allowed, and then it turns into a bus lane in the next block. So you have to really pay attention to signs on the Toronto-based ones, but those are different than true HOV. What do we got here? Quick question. Oh, this is I saw this earlier and I meant to jump on it. When you get your badge number, is it yours till the end of time, or do you or till you leave or retire? Well, many moons ago, they used to reissue badge numbers. You could get your father's or your parents' badge number if they had retired and you were coming on. You would go into a pool and they would just reissue the same badge as somebody else. And then I left the service, and I was under the impression that I would not get my badge number back when I came back 5 years later. But I got my badge number back. So the badge number I have, which is 99947, is my badge number since 2000. I had taken a break from paid service, and I came back, and I got my badge number again. I was really happy with that. They do not reissue them to anybody else,
nice.
is what I've been told.
And when I started in 1995, that was just the start of retaining your badge number, whether you were a civilian starting or a police officer starting. So I was one of the first classes to come out that actually had a 5-digit badge number when nobody on the service had that. So I was always the new guy because they're like, what in the world is that badge number?
And don't we have 6-digit badge numbers now?
No,
or are they
we're
still 5?
Still 5.
But they used to all be 4. It was all 4 before. 4 before.
Even here in like for our peace officer organization, we get 5-digit badge numbers and they stay with us until that's it. And then when we, either leave or retire, the numbers just keep going. So the likelihood of mine being reused anytime soon is pretty slim.
Well, hopefully you stick around for a while.
Yes, like all
Just
the way
a
to
little
the end. Just a little heads up, it is almost 11 o'clock, and what we've been doing is letting everybody know that once we hit 11, no new questions will be accepted. We'll hit a timestamp and it'll be done, but we'll do our best to sort of power through a bunch of questions that are in the queue, looking for the good ones.
I like that one right above there.
Which one? This one?
Nope.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even read it. We're going in blind. Matthew wants to know, why do tickets not scale with take-home pay? Doesn't this allow the rich to skirt responsibility? Interesting topic.
And I like
it. We're big fans. We're big fans. In the, where was it? The Netherlands? Somewhere. There is a jurisdiction that does this. And like a VP of a company paid $250,000 for a speeding ticket because it was based on their annual income. Wouldn't that dissuade people from breaking the law? Or maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Certainly, our wimpy, we have the lowest cost speeding fines in Canada, in Ontario. I think it stinks. I'd like to see much higher, much higher. I'd also like to see people losing their cars when they do really stupid things, like forever.
Yeah. But I think this is an interesting conversation, though, because, where does it end, so to speak, right? Like, do you start jacking everybody's? I think to me, it comes down to more of the effect on the driver's license more than it is the financial aspect.
I would like to see both.
You carry the same license whether you make $2 million a year or you make $20,000 a year. It's the same license, and the same implications will affect your license regardless of your income. So if you keep racking up tickets regardless of what your income is, the effect on your license is the same.
True.
You'll be suspended the same way.
The big thing is we have people who park where they want, and what's $50 to one person is an appetizer to somebody else. So there's a lot of people who believe there's inequality, that the law doesn't have the same impact to everyone who's impacted or affected by it. Like like I said, if I go and get a $50 ticket, it's going to ruin my day. It may not ruin everybody else's day, and that may not be enough deterrent. You look at the bail process. When the courts look at bail, you want to get out of jail? Why is someone getting their own recognizance for no money down and somebody else is getting a $2 million bail? It's because their ability to pay is different. Their personal assets. You have to, it has to be a risk based on what is risk and important to that person. So I think that there's room for discussion there at very least. And I imagine the people who break the law regularly don't want to hear about this. What is this? How can you report someone if they've had temporary license plate that's not in the back of the car? A temporary license plate has to be on display. It's only good for 10 days. What do you guys have for temporaries?
So it all depends on what the temporary is being used for. I stopped a lady the other day that got a car from BC and they were taking it to Calgary, and they were given almost 2 months on their travel permit to allow them to get it from BC, get the work done in Alberta, and get it to their final destination. However, your permit also then it comes with specifications on, okay, you can't just take this and go get groceries. This permit is for going to a shop, getting something mechanically repaired or fixed on your vehicle, and or point A to point B from your locations. The only problem here in Alberta is the permit's got to be put left side of car, so like in your front left windshield on the dash, which is frustrating because you pull everybody over with them because you can't see the paper in the front.
Well, that's it. We do see these temporary permits, and those are for people who come into the province, buy a car, and taking it elsewhere and don't have plates. I used to pull them over all the time. I don't see them very often now.
No, because of their replacement with the temporary val tag with remember the T on the top right corner?
But that I still see them when it's someone from out of the province because they don't issue them a plate at all.
Right. So if you're going to get changing it into your name and you're going to get a plate issued eventually for you to operate on the road, they'll give you a temporary license plate with a temporary T on it, which means you have 10 days to get the work done. And you can drive it wherever you want for the 10 days and use it for whatever purpose you want. But after the 10 days, you still have license plates. They're still registered to the vehicle. They're just not authorized to be on the road.
Yeah. And here it's just a piece of paper, just called an in-transit permit. That's it.
Interesting. Differences. For anyone watching,
I prefer the plate,
no
though.
idea who. What's that? You prefer? Absolutely.
I would prefer the
You
plate.
can see the plate. Yes. For anyone who has no idea who you're watching, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. Next to me, Sergeant Murray Campbell, also from the Toronto Police Service. And then on the other half of the screen, with people who walk randomly behind the camera, we have Logan Grant, officer with Brooks, the city of Brooks, a peace officer.
Hey, Sean, you got it.
I called them special constable, community constable.
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner, right?
Jordan wants to know what the punishment is for radar or laser detectors. And I can tell you it's going to be different from our different jurisdictions because it's not even illegal where you are.
Nope.
Or where Logan is.
Yeah.
Because that is very specifically not illegal in Alberta.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why.
I'll tell you, though, I pull you over for speeding and you got that in your window. You could be the nicest person on earth. Me, you're getting a ticket.
Well, I would hope everyone
You can tell
who
me whatever you
speeds
want,
gets
but
tickets.
if you got a radar detector, you're just telling me you speed in the hopes of not getting caught.
Well, that's the whole thing. You know,
ticket.
if it's like saying I had a police detector, and that way all the armed bandits, robbing people would know when to put their guns away, and it's no different to me. If you're putting lives at risk because you're choosing to speed. Anyway, the question was actually what's the punishment for having it? It's $170 and 3 demerit points, and the fun thing in Ontario is that we have full search and seizure authority. So if we believe you have one in the vehicle, we can search your vehicle to find it.
And your person as well.
Yes.
And when we take your car apart, we don't have to put it back together. So it's better to be forthcoming if you do have one in your car, because we may start at the back and work our way to the front.
You wouldn't want this. There could be things you don't want us to find.
It could be.
And oddly enough, bad things. People, we find things they're not supposed to have, like drugs. It's amazing. I mean, it may stop the search and then continue into an application for a search warrant at that point, but your day will get worse.
Yeah.
We have a message from Twitch. What's up, folks? How you guys doing? We're doing good. Thank you for asking.
Very good.
I just got a Hyundai Elantra N, and it pops from the factory. Matai says that. Is it okay? If it's factory and it's approved and it's the standard stuff and there's a slight crackle once in a while, is that excessive? Would you give someone a ticket for having the what's the Rice Krispies?
Snap Crackle
Pop. Think about that. It's been a while. I don't eat that anymore. Do you eat do you eat Rice Krispies?
I used to.
Did you put sugar on them?
More than I should have. And I'm suffering from it now. So.
Of course. So go ahead.
Yeah, no. If it's got a little crackle or a little pop, I mean, is it gonna draw my attention enough to pull you over? Probably not. To me, it all depends on how much pressure goes into the accelerator, and if at an idle it's not making much noise, and if upon acceleration at a normal acceleration it snaps a little bit. Like I'm not gonna get too upset about it.
There's some
But I know some of
there.
these companies are bringing out their tuner style cars right from factory that may have those specific add-ons. So
Well, a friend of mine races Hyundais because he's actually with Hyundai Racing, and we saw them at Honda Indy again. Sad to see one of their cars get kind of smushed up by a GTR hit it in a race. Anyway, I believe they have a track mode. I believe they have different dials. So if you have the option of dialing it up or down, louder or quieter, don't use a track mode on the road. Not because it's illegal, because it's silly and gets you tickets for unnecessary noise. But it's all about reasonable. If it's because you're driving like a normal human being, following the rules, you're probably not going to have a problem. That sounded like a Gong Show gong. It might be, giving us a heads up that we should shut her down and get into the questions a little faster. But the answer is, if driving or driver behavior is the leading cause of unnecessary noise charges, I think.
yeah, 100%.
If you're revving and being a silly person, then that's what's going to draw attention to you. What is the fine for using a plate cover on the 407?
Well, probably doesn't have
the different
anything to do with the actual highway. Probably just having a plate
Actually, it
cover in
does.
general.
Oh,
really?
No, we have
Whoa.
special offenses for that specific highway.
So that's 407 is a
Well.
toll highway using.
Oh, that's the
camera equipment.
EDR,
So if
or
you-
something?
That ETR, yes.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah.
are
I've been
if
on
you're
there.
obscuring your plate for the purposes of avoiding a toll, there are multiple things. One, obstruct your license plate, $110, and then there's an additional one. Are you looking it up?
I am looking at it right now.
Wow.
Sergeant's looking it up. We'll get you a more specific answer in a second. And by I'm being called out for choosing a question that came out after 11, but it was a good one. And then there was a comment, which I'm about to put up. I think the new dad needs to do a dad joke. In fact, dad jokes from all. We will definitely get into some
Oh, I
dad
forgot to
jokes in
bring
just a
them.
minute. You forgot to
I
bring
forgot to bring them. There was one good one that I had that.
only one.
Yeah, well, there was a few that I looked at. But
Where's my box of dad jokes? Oh, here's my box of dad jokes. I've got a calendar. This one's actually good. I got a couple here. All right. What else we got here? We'll come back to dad jokes in a second. I want to go back to
I can't remember where the 407 offenses are.
obstruct plate.
No, not the HCA offenses, but the
I thought
407
it was still to avoid.
to prevent. Yeah,
I think it was specifically for toll. I think it's HTA. I think it's for toll. Dr. Nick had a question, and I do not ignore Dr. Nick because Dr. Nick always calls me out for it. Why can't I have a bottom windshield banner, but Toronto police can have the fallen officer sticker, which was definitely in their wiper sweep area? No, the fallen officer sticker is in the bottom left-hand corner and is not in the wiper sweep area. I don't think that it is. But a banner that runs across the full length of your windshield is absolutely obscuring your view. The ones that we have are outside of that view. I'm going to go double check it now because I'm curious, but I don't believe that they are. I can't imagine this. Now, I will say that there is something that we are guilty of, and that is for having license plate frames or license plates that are obscured by bike racks. That's something we've talked about. We keep getting called out for it. It is absolutely not permitted. However, we can identify ourselves, and so can the public because our vehicle numbers are painted on the vehicle. It's
still
not
unlawful.
It's still unlawful, but I think that's where the theory is. We brought it up. We'll see if it ever becomes addressed properly. I've even suggested a plate relocation kit. But yeah, what do we have here, Brandon? How can you? We talked about this already. Oh, yeah, we talked about this. Okay, Akela Draconis letting us know that he was under the impression it wasn't a cereal box, but it was a Cracker Jack box.
I was going to go there, Kayla. I was going to say the same thing, but
I ruined it with my horrible tricks joke.
tricks.
Tricks. It's all your fault, Logan.
I know.
Mustafa wants to know
One
if
job.
passengers in the back seat can be ticketed for not wearing seatbelts. Yeah, every passenger in a motor vehicle must be wearing a seatbelt. Is that different?
And if
if
they're
you-
underage,
you're
it goes
under-
to the driver.
Yes, under 16 goes to the driver. Over 16 goes to the person.
Here's a good one. Can passengers in a motorhome drink alcohol while the vehicle's on the road? A lot of people think that it's yes, but the answer is no. A motorhome isn't a residence until it is parked, and that is the time when it is permitted.
But not
And
just
being at a red
parked.
light doesn't count.
Yes, and not
Yeah.
on the side of the road either.
In a
Yeah.
place where they're legally permitted to
To camp.
camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are a unique vehicle in that perspective. Whereas people say, well, what if I live in my car? No, a car never becomes a temporary domicile for the purposes of alcohol.
And you know what? Same as a boat. So you can drink alcohol on a boat as long as your boat is fitted with a bathroom and living quarters, and it has to be docked or anchored at the same time.
So speaking of scruffy beards, can you have a scruffy beard as a cop? He almost choked on his tongue.
I know.
That was just a hair, tickling him.
Yeah. Just now you got me. I don't smoke, I swear. Yeah, I mean, I know I might not look here, but I keep it very groomed, I think. Very
It's a
clean.
magnificent beard.
I don't have birds living in it.
That's good.
So,
They make a lot of noise when you're testifying.
You
in court.
can. Yes.
The
And I think that's probably the same for you
We
guys
have
now too,
rules.
right? Like a lot of
There-
police services.
Oh yeah, beards are permitted. Beards were, and actually beards looking like yours were probably what the Toronto Police was founded on. Everyone had a beard back then. It was actually a mustache and goatee. We were the last service in the province of Ontario to permit a goatee. We were either allowed to have mustache or full beard. That was it.
Wow, interesting.
We were the absolute last ones. But can you have a scruffy beard? No. You have to have a manicured beard. It
No.
has a
Yeah,
maximum
yeah.
length according to our standards, but it is each individual police service that's their standards.
Yeah.
You could probably speak to that better than anybody.
We're good.
I lotion mine. I soap it in the morning. I use a hair dryer,
Oh, very nice.
and then I have a beard heat comb,
Oh,
and then I have a horse brush. So trust me, this is very well groomed.
very,
I'm gonna
very
stop
good.
touching.
It's not creepy at all. Okay.
No.
Why are dark tinted windows such a big deal? Sebastian Zavitz wants to know.
Well,
For me personally, sorry, Sarge.
yeah.
My biggest thing is in rural Alberta out here, we don't have a lot of street lights. So if I'm a pedestrian, you can't see me. Especially the darker it gets, it's just harder to see. You know, I hear people talk about, well, the fire department has a hard time bringing it, blah, blah, blah. To me, it's all about vision and being able to properly see out your window. And for us, pedestrians is a big thing. If you can't see the person in the crosswalk, yeah. And we have no tint laws. Yeah, we have tint laws that say you can't have any tint, like zero. So I'm quite happy.
I'm sorry, I have to go off and Sask Dad, I'm assuming Sask is Saskatchewan. This guy's fully invested in that beard. He suggests you use mane and
tail.
shampoo.
Yeah.
You've heard of this?
I've seen mane and tail for sure.
Is that
still buy it. It's
actually
like a big
for
white
horses, or is that
It is.
it
It
for
is, but
horses?
you can actually buy it in the shampoo aisle. It's a big bottle and it's got a picture of a galloping horse. Oh yeah.
That made my day. Thank you very much. So just to double down on this whole window tint thing, aside from your ability to see out, which is absolutely hampered by the reduction of light, because oddly enough, our eyeballs, the nerve at the back, the eye, the optic nerve, uses light to feed information to the brain. The less light you get, the less information being projected. Thus, you see less, and of course, it's dangerous. But there's a whole other side, and that is we need to be able to see in to see if you're wearing your seatbelt, if you're smoking a cigar, cigarette, or other, accoutrement. If you are drinking alcohol, if you're wearing your seatbelt, did I say that already? Using your cell phone, we need to be able to see and to identify the driver. Why would we want to identify a driver? Fail to remain collision, criminal activity, children in distress, all sorts of things we need to be able to see in for. Those are some good reasons. Yeah, that's actually it's 50-50. But a lot of people want to be able
officer safety is a big thing,
yeah.
and then being able to see in. But the biggest thing you get from people when you stop them and bring it up to them, they've always got something, right? So that's, to me, their biggest thing is the pedestrians, and then seeing out for them. For us, it's having to see in and being able to identify who's in there.
And a lot of people say, well, I can see out just fine. And there are some tints that are apparently better at seeing out than and while blocking light coming in. And I can appreciate solar load sucks. Having to have a hot car on in a sunny day is less fun than not having a hot car. Some people just want to be able to pick their nose, quite frankly, and they don't want to be caught. Then there's the folks who drive smart cars and don't want to be identified as a smart car owner because they're embarrassed. But it's okay to want to save money. You should be proud of that. Being green is not bad. That is the. Robbie Bobby wants to know: does having a pet in my car count as an extra passenger in a vehicle in the HOV lane? With a pondering emoji. And the answer is no. Humans only. Children, however, do qualify as humans, even if you don't think so.
Oh, Sean, that's rough.
Oh my God, that
Does
was
that
amazing.
count as a dad joke?
That's great.
Oh my!
What happens if the dog identifies as a person, though?
Oh,
Then
there
we
you
have
go.
a whole new scenario,
What if the person identifies as a dog?
Oh,
right?
Still a person?
this is going to go dangerous. We
Yeah.
should stop this. We should stop this.
We're getting
immediately.
into rough territory.
Oh, God.
Are police constable candidates required to go
Killing
through
me.
a polygraph test in order to work in Alberta? Radic wants to know. The answer is, I believe so. I believe that our police constable candidates do have to in Alberta. A friend of mine went to Lethbridge, and the questions in their pre-screening questionnaire were wild, wild things you'd never think about. Have you ever sold drugs? Have you ever sold your body? These are questions that are on that. You can actually look up the Lethbridge, Alberta pre-polygraph test questions. You can spend an hour looking at the 500 questions, and it's shocking.
Wow.
Shocking.
Even some of the fire departments out here, believe it or not, have polygraphs as part of their
Really?
background testing. Yeah, 100%.
Do you
Calgary
like
does.
matches? Do you like flames? What do they ask
Pretty
you?
much. CP Police, Canadian Pacific Police out here, they do the polygraph.
Yep.
So more and more seem to be picking it up.
You know what? We want honest people. So why don't
sure.
you be honest in your
Yep.
in your application?
Yep.
Which
And I'll tell you, it's intimidating, and it will pull out
do you do
people
it?
that are
Did you
doing
do
it know
for
what
your
they're
job?
doing. I've had to do a couple, in my day.
Oh,
So
did we find it? Did we find the fine?
Find the fine for the
407?
407. Yes, it's an additional $110
On top of the obstruction.
on top of the plate one. So
That's so good.
we're 220.
That's
and
not-
that is.
for driving with a covered plate on the on the.
Oh
on
no,
the,
I'm waiting for the bark here, the rough.
Oh, that is rough.
Come on,
Yes.
you had a moment.
Now I'm saving the bark for the tree question.
Okay.
Oh,
God, he's at it again.
oh.
Sean didn't even get that one.
No, I
No,
was too busy reading someone who doesn't think there's that police officers are honest. They think that that's a joke. They are not interested in what we have to say. We're not honest, apparently. Okay. Bong Girl, can you please talk about jaywalking on the? Curly has a question that starts with the Bong Girl. Can you please? I don't know who the Bong Girl is. Can you please talk about jaywalking on oncoming traffic? It getting
On
bad. Incoming traffic?
Incoming.
Oh.
On incoming traffic.
It getting bad day by day. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Like jaywalking. Jaywalking isn't actually an offense in Ontario. Is jaywalking an offense in Alberta?
Pedestrian impeding traffic is what we've got.
So
We have similar.
So
yeah,
Kind of.
kind of, sort of. It depends. Like if you are crossing mid block and you are nowhere near a pedestrian crossing, it's not against the law to do it. It's unsafe.
Yeah.
It's risky, but you could be doing it safely and legally. If you are within 50 meters of a crosswalk, I believe it's an offense to not use the crosswalk. So there's
we have one for pedestrian cross outside a crosswalk, and then we just have pedestrian impede traffic.
interesting. Let's get into boom, boom, boom. What is your salary? Sammy wants to know what the salary is as a police constable. Full salary after you've finished probation, you've gone through your stages. It's all available on the website, torontopolice.on.ca /careers, and then hit the catalog for or the section for police constable. But I think top wage after 4-ish years is about $107,000. Yeah, that's the base pay as a police constable. Okay. Do we have? I said we were doing any more questions.
Chase. Do Chase's question.
Chase's question. Oh, We'll do that one second. I didn't think that was the one you were going to do. Jordan King wants to know if it's legal to have green underglow in your car in Ontario. Underglow is a funny thing. It's not specifically legal or illegal unless it spills outward from the front or back of the vehicle, because you can only project white light or yellow light to the front. You can only project red light or amber light to the rear. So if your underglow is projecting colors other than that, in directions that it can't, well, you're violating other lighting laws. So someone asked recently, and it was actually the picture that they sent of the wheel. It was on a Jeep, YJ-ish looking vehicle, and they had light spilling forward of the front bumper. It was purple.
Yeah, that was because they mounted it inside the wheel well as opposed to under.
Truly under the vehicle.
So no, the light projected forward. Purple light's not allowed on the front. So yeah, we would take it.
And the question that Chase had, why are some highway signs blue but some green? Did you have an answer for that?
I do. Do you know?
I do not know.
You don't?
Is one provincial and one
municipal?
No, I don't know.
Nope. So highway signs. Think of the highway. In Toronto, we have collector lanes and express lanes.
Oh,
And the collector lanes are blue signed, and the express lanes on the provincial highways are green signed.
I don't think I've ever gone there. No, I don't
Have
think I
a,
understand.
have a look.
I
The more
believe
you
it.
know.
I've never thought about it.
Yep.
It's a reading. Is that Reading Rainbow?
Reading
Or is that
Rainbow.
G.I.
You
Joe?
got to have that. The more you know.
And knowing's half the battle. That's the right one. Okay. Can you get a DUI on a riding lawnmower?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Let's see.
Anywhere, even on your lawn.
Yes. Golf carts on a golf course.
Plus,
You can do that.
you know what? You're probably not doing straight lines as you're cutting.
Look at this. AJ the Awesome
that's the
likes
worst part.
the dark blue, black uniforms. Sorry. Like, you have a gray uniform?
Shirt is dark gray. Yeah.
Apparently, AJ the Awesome votes for your shirt versus our darker blue, black.
And you know what? I'd rather have the dark blue than the gray. They call us county mounties. out here.
What do they call you?
County mounties
County Mounties.
or dirt road cops.
Okay. What do
Because
you,
the RCMP have gray shirts, we have gray shirts.
you guys want to look the same? It's important. It's an authority color in Brooks or in Alberta. What do you call an espresso with a cold? Oh, you don't have a guess? It's a coffee.
A cough.
Cough.
Cough. The cough is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Okay. That's Wednesday's joke. I don't want to jump ahead. Where are average things made? In the Satisfactory.
God.
Yeah.
I like that one. It's pretty good.
I actually like that one. That was not bad. What is the worst thing about ancient history lessons? The teachers tend to Babylon. Babylon?
Babylon. Yeah. I actually got that one.
It's shocking, I know.
Yeah, I know it is very shocking.
Yesterday, a clown held the door open for me. I thought it was a nice gesture. A little late. I wouldn't buy anything with Velcro. It's a total ripoff.
That I like.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to hear a joke about paper? Never mind. It's terrible.
Okay, stop. You're killing me. Terrible.
You know, they can't all be perfection, but
Where do polar bears keep their money? In the snowbank.
Oh,
I like it. I like it.
it could be worse.
It could be a lot worse.
It could be worse. Any others? Or do we? Come on, someone give us a joke. Is there where Zombie's not here with her killer dad jokes? I'm looking at TikTok. Come on, TikTok. You can do it. Give us a dad joke that rocks it. I'm waiting. We're waiting. There's a delay there.
John, how much room is needed for fungi to grow?
How much room is needed for fungi to grow? I don't know.
As much room as possible.
Nice. How do you make an egg roll?
I'm scared.
You push it.
Yes.
You know
Okay.
that geology rocks?
Geology rock.
The geography is where it's at.
Nice.
I pressed the button. Let's see here. We got what did the horse say after it tripped? Help! I've fallen and I can't giddy up. That's that's from the Grinch. We got what do we have here?
What do you call the soft tissue between a shark's teeth?
Bob.
The slowest swimmer.
The slowest swimmer yet.
Let's see here. How many tickets does it take to tickle an octopus? Oh, how many tickles? I thought. See, I'm a traffic guy, so I automatically go to tickets. How many tickets does it take to tickle an octopus? Riley says 10 tentacles.
10 tickles?
Tentacles.
10 tickles.
Yeah, it's tentacles. 10 tickles. I got it. Okay.
All right, we're done.
Is there a really good one? Maybe there's a really good one. This one's good. It's an oldie but a goodie. Well, it's two. This is a parking question. What happens when a frog parks illegally? It gets towed. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. I was a little early on that one.
I have to just step out for a second. I'm going to pop right back in. I just have to take a phone call.
Okie dokie. What did the horse say after it fell? This is bad. Glue does not talk.
Don't they make glue out of horse something?
Yeah, but I don't get. I don't get.
Yeah.
It.
What would bears be without bees?
What?
Ears. Huh? It was good.
That's actually very good. What was what's Forrest Gump's password?
Jenny.
One Forrest one.
Oh God.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, why does the police not trust atoms? They make up everything. I got that one.
The wheel's spinning, but the hamster's dead, Sean.
Atoms make up everything. They're
Oh,
everything.
yes,
Everything's made up of atoms.
science.
They make up everything.
That's
Yes. I got that one.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Crystal J says, I need some better jokes. We do, and that's why we're calling out and asking for it. Why are you says, this is Canadians paying for taxes. No, it's Torontonians who are contributing to the education of all persons in Ontario and in Alberta, if you're watching from Alberta too.
Yeah, and it stretches out all the way here.
Yeah, the deal is actually that we do
Bam.
this. The dad joke component, if you just tuned in and you're just hearing dad jokes, I would totally agree with you. That would be misuse of public funds, but we're taking a couple of minutes to smile because education is fun. But jokes are also fun. No, this is if you're talking
It'll probably be the only time I laugh today in my job. So
it's worth it. It's mental health.
Puts me out on the road with a smile.
It's mental health. Let's see here. Akila Draconis managed to stick around. Stay safe. Remember, don't have a good day. Have a great day. That is the closing of the show. It is. We know it's time when he says that. If you have stuck with us for the whole hour and a half, thank you so much for joining us. Logan, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you again.
Yes, sorry, it's been a while, and we've been trying to make this work, but I keep getting tied up or something. Not literally, because that'd be weird, but mostly just I just haven't had a chance to get on. So I appreciate. I got my equipment in the office now, though, so hopefully we can make this happen a little more often.
I'm glad to hear that you're back. It was weird not having you here, but that whole taking time off to be a family guy. Let's see here. We got never a misuse of funds to show you are human and joyous and enjoy a smile. Yeah, we are humans, and we do.
Especially Sean's smile. Can you not get lost in that? Like, look, there it is. There it is. Now he's blushing.
Beyond awkward, but that's okay. I appreciate it. Somebody else. I got a friend of mine from the OPP who's actually been on the show. Calls me up. He says, "I've been listening to your what is it? I got lost in your voice listening to your podcast."
Right, I've told you this.
Yeah.
Nursery rhyme, Sean. We're gonna
publish an audio book of me just reading the law. Maybe, possibly. Okay, what do we have here? Oh my God, this is a dad joke that we didn't account for. Rest in peace, boiling water. You will be missed.
I just seen that one. That was a good one.
Don't make a streetcar driver mad today. That's always good advice. Radek says, awesome episode. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
You have a great day.
Yes, he should. And thanks for another great episode. Always a good time from AJ the Awesome. Thank you, thank you. I think that if we don't turn it off, it will never stop. So with that, we're going to shut it down. But I'm going to warn everybody ahead of time. I am going to pop on a little later to test the 1080p or the higher quality level, the higher quality level of the show. And if you're not running away, you want to be part of that test, stick around because we can do this again. I'll send you a link. But it's just that it will just come on for a couple minutes to test out the 1080p and see if it's working properly. Because if we can get it working, then that's an amazing.
You're looking pretty clear in my end. I'm just saying.
We'll have to compare it when we have the option. Here, this is the Grinch says, so more shiny head of Sean at 1080. Yes, you can actually, you'll be able to identify the freckles. Here's the deal. It was actually what we used to be doing. And then suddenly we had problems with the connection. But I have tested, we have tested, and it looks like the new settings are amazing. We did mention this earlier, but I'm going to mention it again and stand by for sharing of the screen. The sharing of the screen is age-old. No, okay, hang on a second. Here we go. If you would like to support Special Olympics Ontario, you can buy a ticket to win a Harley-Davidson. Not any Harley-Davidson, not just any Harley-Davidson, a 2022 Harley-Davidson Touring Street Glide, and that is only, nearly 8 days. 7 days, 21 hours, 27 minutes, and 18 seconds away. That's when the draw is going to take place. So you have a limited amount of time to buy a ticket. One ticket can be yours for only $20, 3 for $50, or 8 tickets for $100, because that's the best deal. So I took the deal because 8 chances to win are better than only 1. But at the end of the day, all the money goes to Special Olympics Ontario, which is just an amazing organization that makes it possible for special athletes to go out and compete and do amazing things. And if you've never been involved with the organization, you should go. Run out right now. Find out how you can support them. This is the easiest way. And you might have a $35,000 motorcycle to show for it if you choose to play.
It's a nice ride.
I wouldn't say no to a new Harley.
Yep.
I have a Honda, which is somewhat old now, which I'm thinking of selling.
You have a Goldwing?
I do not have a Goldwing. I have a Valkyrie Interstate. It is a 6-cylinder. It's based on the Goldwing. It's got a 6-cylinder 1525cc engine that has 6 individually fed carburetors and 6 exhaust pipes. It's cool.
Calm down, Sean. You're getting excited.
Well, you know what? It's a fun bike. It was a fun bike. It's taken me across North America. I used to do a lot of touring on it. It doesn't go anywhere anymore. It sits in my garage. It hasn't moved. Although it's insured and ready to go, it has not really moved in 5 years. Yes.
It's a timepiece at this point.
You know what? I thought about making it into a coffee table, like bringing it into the living room. My wife said no.
Yeah.
We have a joke from AJ the Awesome who says it is absolutely the last joke. I wrote a song once about a tortilla, but it's more of a rap.
For a rap, anyway.
Yeah.
Do I? Meh.
All right. We're shutting it down, but I will text you in a second, and we'll come back and test some stuff out. But for everyone else, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock to do it all over again. Have a good day. Oh, wait. We got to play I almost forgot the song. How could I forget the song? I'm not forgetting the song. Here is the traffic song. Enjoy.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light.
Okay, that's it. It's really over now. At least, yeah, until we start it again in like 10 minutes. Okay, we're out.